How do you go from the rent-a-center to death row? Well, in this weird story, I'm going to explain to you what happened to one Michael Tysius. This is absolutely one of the dumbest stories I've ever read in my life on how somebody was executed. We got low IQ, damaged brain cells, and a lot of meth. There's always a lot of meth in these weird, stupid stories. Today we're in Huntsville, Missouri on this rainy, cold, gray day. We're gonna visit a couple locations, and we're gonna talk about this very bizarre story. There's really not a whole lot to this town. Huntsville, Missouri, population about 1,400 people. And curiously enough, this is the same town where one Bill Anderson grew up as a child. I'll be doing a video about him in the not too distant future. So let's go back to 1999. Now, at that time, you have a 18-year-old kid. His name is Michael Tysius, and he didn't have much of a very good upbringing. His mother was a prostitute. His dad was a pathetic lowlife, and oftentimes he would be abused. He would be going to school dirty. Kids would make fun of him because he smelled. Yeah, did not have a very good upbringing, right? So in or around the summer of 1999, Michael Tysius, he's bored. He's in a small town. There's not a whole lot to do. So he's thinking of ways that he can make a buck, right? Now, normally, we, as normal people, when we want to make a dollar, what do? We get a job. Michael Tysius, he's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Rent-A-Center. I'm going to rent a stereo. Maybe I'll play some music, some cool rap music for a while. And then when I get bored of it, I'll pawn it. Yeah. Well, see, the thing about Rent-A-Center is like when you rent to own stuff, you don't legally own it yet. There's a lot of contractual details in the paperwork that you fill out when you're renting said stereo system or TV or what have you. And they frown upon pawning their items. So eventually he is arrested for that crime. I guess you would call it theft. So he goes to jail, and well, he doesn't stay there too long because he's young and they're looking at him and he's kind of stupid, so they give him probation. So the following year he violates his probation and he lands in the Randolph County jail. He's doing about a 30-day probation hold, right? And at this time, he's about 19 now, right? And, instead of stealing things and doing drugs, he should have been moving to Los Angeles so he can join one of those boy bands like NSYNC or Backstreet Boy or whatever. But this guy had very terrible parents and a crap childhood. So while he's in jail, he's locked up with a guy named Roy Vance. Roy's a little bit older than him, about 8 years his senior. And, I've been to jail, unfortunately, several times. And when you're in jail, the people that I've found that I've talked to in jail, most of them are there for some form or another drug use, whether the crime was selling drugs or doing a crime while on drugs. And when they're off of drugs, you would be surprised how intelligent some of these guys are. And I've developed a couple friendships getting out of jail, meeting up with people and stuff like that. So when you're in jail and it's boring and there's not a whole lot to do, you don't have the internet, you may not even have a television, so all you have is each other to talk to and pass the time all day. So he develops a close personal friendship with this Roy Vance. Now, this guy, Michael Tysius, he didn't really have much of a father figure, so maybe he's looking at Roy as this older brother father figure that he never had. So one day they're talking, and I'm not sure, I couldn't find exactly what Roy was incarcerated for, but he told Michael that, you know, he's gonna be doing 50 years in prison for whatever it is that he did. He came up with a great idea. He said, you know what? When you get out, you can break me out. And, you know, Michael's stupid. He's a stupid kid. He said, yeah, you and my girlfriend, you know, when you get out, you guys should come back and bail me out. I mean, excuse me, break me out. So they honestly, these knuckleheads, they start forming a plan. Now, the Randolph County Jail, because, you know, there's not that many people in this town, and the county of Randolph, there's not a whole lot of action going on. So in this jail, there's, you know, probably not even 20 people there. I don't even think, it might have even been just under a dozen. So there's a foyer in this jail where you go into, and there's only 3 or 4 guards working on duty at a time. And he says, listen, this is what you do. When you get out, you're gonna go meet up with my girlfriend. You guys are gonna get a gun. You're gonna come back and you're going to break me out of jail. And if the guards, you know, get a little bit brave, just give me the gun and I'll force them all into a jail cell. And then whoever wants to, you know, break out of jail with me, they're more than welcome to come. If not, who cares? And then we'll leave. Now, this jail back in 2000 was a very low level, low risk, low security jail. And they start formulating a plan. Now, at that time in this jail, you were actually able to bring people like items. I'm not exactly sure what the extent of those items were, but very low level, just not much of a care in the world, right? So about June, I think June the 13th or so, June 13th, 2000, Michael Tysius gets out of jail. Now, he makes his way to Columbia, where he links up with Roy Vance's girlfriend. Her name is Tracy Bullington, right? So first, they need to get a gun to break this guy out of jail, right? Tracy's parents have this little .22 caliber pistol, so she grabs that, and, you know, Michael's looking at her, and he's saying, don't you have a bigger gun than this? And she said, no, that's all I can get. So he's like, okay, this will work. So this guy is in his very warped, low IQ brain. He's gonna break this guy out of jail, get away with this crime, never be caught ever again. He's not thinking as a logical adult. Now, being he's only 18 years old, but his brain, there's something wrong with it, because he's not thinking of the consequences involved in this jailbreak. So the plan, again, go to the jail and pull out the gun and force everybody into the back of the jail, lock them in the jail cell, get the keys, release the inmate, whoever wants to come with Roy, and they're home free. So over the course of several days, Tracy and Michael, they're smoking dope, getting high, getting twacked out of their minds, and they're gonna do this. Tracy's all in on breaking out her loser boyfriend. So as they're making plans, they're coming to the Randolph County Jail, and they would drop off cigarettes to Roy Vance. Now, I guess you were allowed to just drop off stuff like cigarettes or whatever. So Roy is telling Michael, I think via letters, that they would rather do the jail escape on the same day that Jason Acton is working at the jail. Jason Acton is a jailer at the jail. Now, he says, you know, let's do it on the day that Jason's working, because he just started that job. He's only been on at work for about 2 months. So this guy's still new, he's still green. He's probably not gonna put up a fight as they think. So again, I want to reiterate, this Michael Tysius kid, he's 19 years old now. He doesn't have much of a criminal record. He only has a theft. Pawning a stereo that he got from Rent-A-Center, that's not really much of a charge. He is not thinking of the consequences that are about to take place when he breaks this guy that he's barely known, that he's barely stayed in jail with for a month. So the first time, around the 18th or the 19th of June, they go to the jail to drop off Roy a pack of cigarettes. When they get to the jail, Jason Acton, he isn't there. It's a couple of other guards. They go back a second time. They bring Roy some socks. Again, Jason Acton, he's not there. And then they start making small talk with the guards that are on duty at the time, and they're just asking him, hey, when is Jason gonna be working or whatever? Do you know when Roy's gonna be going to court or what have you? Yada, yada, yada. So they would go back to the jail a couple more times. And then on around midnight, June 22nd, when they go to the jail, and mind you now, Michael and Tracy, they've had several times to back out of this. They've had several times to put down the pipe and just think logically to each other, maybe we shouldn't do this, because when we get caught, we're going to prison for a very long time for a loser that we barely know. But no, they're meth out, balls to the wall, they don't care, they're getting that guy out of jail. And June 22nd, right at around midnight, Michael goes to the Randolph County Jail. He has a pack of cigarettes in his pocket, and he has a .22 caliber pistol in his pocket. Might have been a revolver, but I don't know. They don't make too many .22 caliber revolvers anymore, but it could have been a revolver. Point is, it was a gun. Him and Tracy make their way to the jail, which that house right there, that 2-story brick house, that used to be the jail back in 2000. They built a new jail down the road right here, but this is the location where that happened. So they come up to this building and they go through that door, and sitting there is the supervisor, or the Sergeant Leon Egley. So they ask Sergeant Leon Egley, hey, where's Jason Acton? And he says, oh, he's in the back. Oh, okay. So Jason Acton comes from the back, and immediately Michael pulls out the gun and shoots Jason right above the left eyebrow. The bullet goes crashing into his head, going through his brainstem, and it lands right in his cerebellum, killing him ultimately, instantly. Leon jumps up to try to grab Michael, and he shoots him 1 or 2 times, like somewhere in the torso. He falls onto the ground. So now Michael goes into where the deputy's room, and he starts like just grabbing the keys. He goes into the back of this home right here, and Roy, he's in his jail cell, and he's like, oh crap, gunshots, like this wasn't the plan. And he's trying to open up his jail cell, and none of the keys are working. Now, you just shot 2 jailers, killing one of them, and you're trying to open this guy's jail cell. And I don't know how long he was making an attempt to open this man's jail cell, but he wasn't even able to find the correct key to break him out of jail. So now this kid is up to his ears in bleep, right? So as he tells Tracy, hey, let's get the hell out of here, he goes into the room, and as he's exiting, Leon, who's still alive, grabs his leg. And as he makes an attempt like to grab his leg, Michael shoots him 3 times in the head, killing him. And it all happened right here in this what once was a jail, now It's a private residence, somebody lives there. After Michael kills both jailers, him and Tracy, they hightail it out of town. They drive about 2 hours west, right through St. Joseph, out to Kansas, about 130 miles away, where their car broke down. Now, later that day, they were both apprehended and arrested, and both were charged, along with Roy Vance, the idiot that they were trying to break out of jail with both of the jailers' murders. Now, Tracy Bullington, she ended up testifying against Michael Tysius in exchange for a life sentence. Roy Vance, he ends up getting a life sentence for this, and Michael Tysius, 19 years of age, ends up getting the death penalty. And try as it might, you had a lot of death penalty advocates. They do this for fun. They just try to stop every single execution. And they did mount a defense for why Michael Tysius should not be executed. A couple of the reasons, his age, he was only 19. They say oftentimes that the brain, especially the male brain, is not developed until we're in our mid-20s. You also have the fact about his sorry upbringing, his terrible childhood. And coincidentally enough, one of his attorneys or somebody did a test on him, and they found that his blood contained 7 times the amount of lead in his blood than the average human being. You couple all of this with the fact that one of the jurors during his murder trial, double murder trial, was functionally illiterate. They couldn't read or write. To be a juror, you have to be able to read and write. Saying all of that, having said all that, the jury still convicted Michael Tysius, of course, of the crime. You know, his attorneys mounting whatever, reasons why they should spare his life. And sometime in June, maybe June 3rd, June 4th, somewhere around there, of 2023, Michael Tysius was executed in Bonneterre, out in I think it's south of St. Louis, via lethal injection. One of the most strangest and unusual stories about how somebody gets to the death chamber. Not much happens in Huntsville, so let the man squeal his tires. It's raining, for goodness sake. Okay, so that pretty much tells the complete story of what happened here, back in June 22nd of 2000. Half a mile away from where Leon was murdered, we're at the Huntsville City Cemetery, and this is his final resting place. He's buried alongside with his mother, Velma. And coincidentally enough, Jason Acton, the other man who was shot and killed, he's buried down in Columbia, Missouri. I visited his grave. I happened to be at the same cemetery doing another story. So rest in peace to Leon, Jason, and Velma here, and the rest. Okay, guys, I'm in the road. Gotta try to make a mental note to come back to this cemetery, preferably when the weather improves, because it's only gonna get colder as the recording of this video. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Be good. Peace out.